All right, topic for this video is, do you have members of your ward or unit that are holding the unit hostage? Kind of a dark topic, but it's come to my attention recently, and I think it happens in more wards than I'm aware of. I'm usually not in tune with this kind of thing, but wanted to talk through it because learned a few things, and I think there are people out there that need help with this. First of all, it's a very hard problem. I'm not pretending like it's an easy problem, but I also don't want to pretend like there's not simple solutions. By hostage, I mean, is there members of your ward or branch or unit, or even this could happen at work or anywhere, that basically threaten to sabotage the community if they don't get what they want? And the way this comes up at church, that there's a couple instances that I know of that are like kind of on the extreme side, and then there's a bunch of other things that I've seen that are probably more typical. But the one that kind of was brought to my attention recently is that someone had been in a calling for like 30 years, something like that. And basically, they said that if they were ever released, they would go inactive. And so they're not released because everybody's afraid of them going inactive, or worse, making a mess of things somehow. And then upon investigating, asking questions to people, like, well, why is that? What's going on? Why enable them? Blah blah blah. This particular case was interesting because it's an old ward, kind of a heritage ward, and the member that is giving these threats is a heritage member, and so they're considered to have a heritage testimony. And the thing that like just spun in my head was that they were saying, well, they're the ones that are going to be true to the church to the end. They've been with the church the whole time. They're the ones that are steadfast. Everybody else moves in, moves out, does all this different stuff, and they're there the whole time. And so you can count on them, and we need people that we can count on them. So we don't want to offend those people, because if they leave, then there's just a lot of people moving in and out that we don't know if we can depend on. And I said, okay, well, what you're saying is that, if everybody moved away and nobody moved in, then it would just be basically you with these members, because they never move out and they're steadfast, they're always there. So would you want to be in that ward? And he said, well, no, I'd be one of the ones that would move out. Which I think was enlightening for him and for me, just kind of realizing that the members who are holding their wards hostage are fragile. They have fragile, whatever you want to call it, fragile testimonies or situations or whatever it is. And so I talking to the people who are involved, they're like, yeah, we could release them. They know what the solution is you just release the person, or you tell them no on their demands or whatever whatever. But they're so afraid of the backlash. And in small, tight communities, it's even worse. Everybody's intertwined in each other's business, and so that makes it even worse. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. It makes sense that it's hard. Um, but I don't know of any other solution to it, because if you were to take this and put it in other contexts, it would come out in much more obvious ways that this is not okay. So like if this was a husband-wife scenario, you'd be like, oh yeah, it's spousal abuse. Yeah, okay. What if it was like at work? Like, yeah, well, that's inappropriate to hold each other hostage at work, because now that's a pretty easy lawsuit if you're like basically blackmailing each other or something. Um, and then some of the examples that are less obvious are the ones that someone genuinely is kind of stuck in a calling, and they're not holding the ward hostage, but the ward is too afraid anyway. So, for example, if someone has a calling, I can think of someone who might be like in primary, because they're good with kids and they're like afraid of adults. And so they haven't said it, but maybe the ward just knows, like, oh, if we release them, they'll go inactive. We can't release them, they might go inactive. Or the last time we released them, they went inactive, whatever. And if that is true, then you're keeping them in the calling. You're basically bribing them to come to church by keeping them in this calling. And if that's what the Spirit directs you to do, then I guess that's fine. But to do it out of fear, to not release somebody out of fear for any reason, whether it's to keep them coming to church or fear of consequences of they might sabotage something, is something that I have a hard time with. I I don't tolerate fear, especially making decisions in fear, and that type of thing. I just find really sad that people live in fear because I know how much it hurts to live in fear. And it's not that doing the right thing isn't scary. It's now you're doing the right thing and it's scary. It's not that you're doing the wrong thing because you're scared or something. So anyway, um, I want to be to put this out there because I think some people are in this situation and they don't realize it. Some people are in this situation and they realize it and they're too scared and they don't know what to do. And some people know what to do and they're just not going to do it. And they don't realize how much it's damaging others. And this isn't in every case. Like if you're in a situation where somebody's like, I have to be in this calling or whatever, it's not always the case that they are damaging, but it's pretty rare that it's done in such a way that it is uplifting for the ward. In the vast majority of cases where I've seen this type of thing, um, it's damaging. It's very damaging because you have people that are doing things for the wrong reason. You have the participants who are listening to somebody doing something for the wrong, like it's a kind of infection that people don't realize is going on, but it contaminates the entire thing. And it contaminates everything because someone who is in a position to affect the situation is making a decision in fear. And fear is the opposite of love. And this is a church of love. It's a gospel of love. And Christ is love. And so as soon as you start inserting fear, you know what the effect is going to be. It's going to be a deterioration of the love of the unit. And as that continues to happen, it gets worse and worse and worse, never gets better. You have to get rid of the fear. You can't like talk your way out of it. You can't, wait it out. You have to replace the fear with love. You have to just squash, destroy the fear. And it can be very hard to do. But it's a real issue that some wards deal with. And once again, I'm grateful that I don't think the wards that I've been in have dealt with that a lot. But for the wards that are dealing with that, it can be paralyzing. Ward councils can be paralyzing. Entire Sunday school classes can be paralyzing. Auxiliaries can be paralyzed. Like the whole situation affects so many people. And after a while, you just get used to it. And then there are these like ward terrorists that are holding their wards hostage for decades. Decades. And they actually feel like they're doing the right thing because nobody stops them. And it just gets worse and worse and worse.